back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side girl, and today we're doing my April audiobook wrap-up. Just in case you missed it, I posted my April reading wrap-up yesterday. I'll link that up here in the cards if you guys want to click that little eye and see what I physically read for the month of April, but for now these are going to be just the audiobooks that I listened to. So, I had one audiobook that took up the majority of my month for no reason. I actually listened to it quite fast, but I did a lot of podcasts and things this month that kind of slowed me down. So I did listen to 5 audiobooks, but I kind of crammed a lot of them in towards the end of the month so I could do 2 separate wrap-ups. But that's okay, I'm glad I did that. And I did enjoy a lot of them. So we're gonna talk about the one that I DNF'd first. So literally yesterday I decided to DNF 100 Hours by Rachel Vincent. And I knew it was set, I think it's set in Cuba. I knew it kind of had like a jungly vibe to it, and I thought it was a survivalist story as far as like getting stranded on an island or in the jungle and things like that. But this is actually about kids that get kidnapped. So this is about like super like rich, privileged kids that go for summer vacation and they wind up getting kidnapped, kind of held for ransom. I don't really enjoy like that style of book very much, and I really was hoping this was more of like a surviving in the wilds kind of a thing for summer. And because it was the end of the month and because I had so many other things, I decided to DNF this, and I'm probably going to unhaul it. It was well written. If you like that style of book, I think you would probably like this, but I just don't particularly like it. There was nothing really wrong with it. The audiobook was fine, but I just have other things I want to get to. So we're gonna go kind of like out of order. Next, I randomly decided to cram in The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. Okay, so this one is narrated by James Fouhey, I think is how you pronounce it. And first, I just want to say that he did a really good job. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit because he narrated one of the other books I listened to, but he was a good narrator. So this one is about a world where there are things like zombies and ghosts and vampires and things, and they kind of all exist, and we've kind of created like a new normal around this, and a lot of times the parents have kind of forgotten these things. And so this is about a bunch of kids that don't have any special powers, they don't have any special abilities, and they're kind of just trying to grow up in this world with all this supernatural stuff happening. Sounds like a great premise, and I want to say I did enjoy parts of this so much. I really liked a lot of the supernatural elements and those kinds of parts, and I do think it was well written. However, this to me is much more of a contemporary book than I was planning on, and is much more just about kids kind of growing up and finding themselves and dealing with alcoholic parents and eating disorders and different like learning disabilities and all that kind of stuff. I personally just don't like those styles of books. I like to kind of be taken away when I read a book. I do enjoy some contemporaries, I'm just really picky, so I didn't love those parts of the book. However, if you do love contemporaries and you love stuff that's like just a tiny bit hard-hitting and kind of like heartfelt and gets you attached to characters and you kind of learn about their different life experiences, I think you'll really like this. I thought it was really well done for what it is. I personally just thought it was more of a contemporary read rather than anything else, and I just don't personally enjoy that quite as much, so I wound up giving this one 3 stars. Next up, I listened to Hitch, The Final 5. This is book 3, I think, in the Hitched series. This is narrated by Sarah Puckett. So this is just a very quick 5-hour audiobook. This is a book series that I don't really know what the name for these is kind of called, but they're really short books, but they all kind of come out within a couple months of each other, so kind of like a TV show. So this one is basically The Bachelorette meets Supernatural. Our lead character, and she is picked to be the Bachelorette, and she's whisked off to this island, and she's got all these eligible bachelors, and she is trying to find like her love, but she doesn't know that they are all supernatural. So they're all like vampires or ghosts or dragon riders or all kinds of different things, and there's all these other like supernatural worlds she doesn't know about, and that kind of slowly becomes revealed as the books continue on. So this is just complete cheesy goodness. It's ridiculous, it's romantic, it's funny, it's stupid, it's great. It's if you like The Bachelor, I think you're gonna like this. I don't love Sarah Puckett's narration. She's like right on the verge for me that almost can't enjoy it just because it's kind of more bland. They're only like 5 to 6 hour audiobooks, which I listen at 1.6 to 1.7 speed, so I get through them probably in about 4 hours, so it's pretty fast. I kind of think that they're all on the same level, like a solid like 3.5 stars. They're just really fun reads. They're kind of romantic. I like the different elements with all the different characters. Super cheesy, nothing like super fantastic, but they are pretty fun. I'm getting these audiobooks via Hoopla, which is a app that a lot of libraries can connect with, but you might be able to find them at your other local libraries as well. So next up, I want to talk about Defy Me by Tahereh Mafi. This was my reread for the month. I try to reread a couple books, or I try to reread at least one book a month. The narrators for this are Kate Simses, James Fouhey again, and Viktor. I can't remember his last name, but they'll all be right here. All narrating different characters, and you kind of swap into different characters' perspectives as well. I thought all of them do a good job. Kate Simses is not my favorite, but she's kind of growing on me as I continue to listen to the series. James Fouhey, again, is the one that did The Rest of Us Just Live Here. I think he's a really great narrator because I didn't even realize that was him, and I'm pretty good with picking up on voices, so I feel like he does a good job changing things around. I picked this one because I want to get to Imagine Me in May, which is the final book in the Shatter Me series. So this is book 5 overall, technically book 2 of the next part of the trilogy, so I can't say a lot. The Shatter Me series is a dystopian series, but it has a lot of other elements to it as well. Very heavy on the romance, which I love. Is one of my all-time favorite dystopian series. Especially there are characters in here that I am so attached to that it almost doesn't really matter what happens in the book, because I just kind of want to see what's going to happen to them. So I really enjoyed this upon rereading. It was still probably like a 4-star for me, and I'm excited to get to Imagine Me really soon. I also listened to Find Me, which is the novella set based on a certain character's perspective. This is 2 novella books in one. I did them via audiobook. This one was narrated by Viktor. I can't remember his last name, but it'll be right here. And I really like this particular character that we're following. I thought the first book in this novella set was kind of unnecessary because it was kind of repeating things from the book before Defy Me, Restore Me. And then the second part, I thought, added a lot more new information that we weren't getting. If it's been a while since you've read Defy Me or Restore Me, I think that this is absolutely necessary. It would be a great way to refresh it without being redundant if you don't like rereading books, but not super necessary. I did think that the second novella added a lot more information that I don't think that we've gotten anywhere else, and may or may not be in Imagine Me. So if you're just a diehard fan, I would suggest checking it out, and this was like a 3.5-star listen for me. And then the last audiobook that I listened to that took up the majority of my month was The One by John Mars. So this, again, is a dystopian style book where a certain company has figured out how to test our DNA to see if we match with each other to find your one person, your one love. It's all in your DNA. Super interesting. I've watched movies and other things with this kind of similar thing, but this has a darker tone to it because a lot of people will like break up their marriages if they find out that that person's not the one and they're already married to someone, or sometimes they find out that there's other issues and problems with it. It causes kind of like a lot of chaos as much as it does help people. So you're following at least 4 different characters. There might be like 5 or 6. I can't remember because it's been a couple weeks now. But you're following them. Every chapter is a different character. They don't really interconnect. They're just all kind of having a storyline revolving around this matching system. It's really dark. Like really, really dark. It's adult. It has a lot of adult themes in it, so just keep that in mind. There were some dark things in here that I was not expecting. It was like right on the level that I could handle. It has a full cast audio narration that was absolutely fantastic. It will suck you in and make you just like not be able to stop listening, and you don't know what's happening, and there were so many more surprises and twists and turns than I even realized. Really enjoyed it. Totally distracted me. It is very dark though, so just keep that in mind. It's not just like fluffy romance, but I did really enjoy the ending overall, and I'm really glad I listened to this one. So I wound up giving this one 4.5 stars. And that's all that I listened to for the month of April. So I listen to a lot of podcasts and things now, so that's kind of cutting into my audiobook time, but I am going to make time for audiobooks because I do still really enjoy them, so no worries there. I just also enjoy podcasts now, which is great. So let me know if you guys have listened to these, if you are excited to listen to any of them, if you enjoy audiobooks and all of that jazz, and I will talk to you guys next time on The Bright Side. Bye!